And that's kind of its own thing that freaks me out about history, is when it's like a coin toss between good and evil, right?
Yeah, well,
one side doesn't necessarily win.
Well, but typically...
It just depends on how the cards fall.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we won World War II.
Yeah, I mean, but we also know that Stalin killed more people than Hitler did.
More?
Yeah.
More than Mao? Who won?
Well, as I'm saying, as far as, Stalin, Churchill, and Roosevelt, like, as far as the good guys from World War II, one of the good guys was, like, just one of, like, in this video game, like, the bad guy joins you for a little while, and he's so utterly badass that he can, like, take, has all the special moves. Yeah, that was Stalin with his Russian army, and he was bad. So not all of the good guys won. That's why they were, when it came down to Berlin, they were sprinting as fast as they could to take the city, and how we ended up with a West Germany and an East Germany.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Because they were both just going in for it?
Literally, that's the degree to which the Russians controlled that chunk. And so when, that it's a major turning point in history is what happens right after World War II, because Roosevelt dies and Churchill doesn't get reelected. So everybody coming in from the side of the good guys is new, and the Stalin's a dictator. He gets to set his own rules on, and so they're like, okay, let's keep the Allies together and we'll control Berlin together. And he's like, no, I'm keeping what I've got of Berlin and I'm keeping what I've got of Germany, and all of these other countries, because if I don't keep them, then some European's going to invade Russia again, which he was, like, not wrong. But
yeah,
it's so, like I said, we're lucky when the good guys win, but typically it's just two morons fighting.
Yeah, and so it was still the USSR.
Yep.
And eventually someone was like, Mr. Gorbachev,
tear down that wall. That was Reagan.
Right? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then how did that actually transpire? Who agreed to that?
Gorbachev.
He did?
Yeah.
Why?
He I don't have the reason that he actually, I'd really have to look up what he said about why he made that decision. But like the USSR was in a staggered level of collapse.
So if maybe it was even just like some trade restrictions.
Yeah, it was just a level of which is like, look, we've hit a point where there enough people in mass are willing to die to end this situation. And like that was, half of our history classes in high school was the way people tried to sneak out of East Germany. But eventually it just became no longer worth it.
Yeah.
But like
it's convenient.
Yeah. But you look past there and they continue to collapse after that.
Yeah.
And they give up all of Europe that they had taken after World War II. But at the same time, it's still worth it to North Korea to do the same thing.
Right. Yeah. And it's astounding, they do still exist.
Yeah.
Just because that's how, the cards have fallen up to this point. Right.
Like we beat the Russians by making them just constantly build nuclear weapons because they're very expensive.
Yeah, we should be encouraging North Korea.
Right.
Just keep trying.
Yeah, keep on.
We can do another Cold War.
It seems like all of them are okay with like 5. Iran, North Korea, they're all like good with just having the ability to make nuclear weapons and to have a couple that we don't know about. We can't get anyone anymore to be like, I want to be able to destroy the world 7 times over. No, we're going for 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not totally convinced that any of the nukes we have would actually work. Because they're so old.
I'm sure we have some that work that probably weren't the original sets, or the ones built in the 80s or built in the 90s.
Yeah, maybe there's some secret things.
Yeah,
I know
'cause
that
we
they try to update, they replace the parts and try to keep them up to date.
Yeah.
But it's so old.
Mm-hmm. No, it's scary. Well, my brother-in-law works on Air Force jets with his guard duty, and they're working on planes that were built, in the 80s, in the 90s, in the 70s. The Warthogs, the A-10s, are just very, very old.
Yeah. And these nukes were all built, what?
Progressive. They were progressively built from, the 50s through the 80s, but into the 90s.
I swear, Chris. Into the 80s?
Yeah.
90s?
Oh, yeah.
I thought the Cold War ended sooner than that.
Cold War ends in, I don't know, like 89 or something, like 87, 89, something like that. But we still had, we put our, that would be the 60s. The Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yeah.
When Magneto stopped all the missiles.
So that was the height of the Cold War, not the end of it.
Correct.
Okay.